Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Fibre Friends podcast. I'm Cheryl from My Needle Crafts.
Hi, everybody. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool.
So how are you this week?
I'm good. I'm excited. I am now officially on vacation for a few days. So,
Yay!
I'm feeling all
I,
relaxed. I woke up this morning and thought, I don't have to get out of bed.
I didn't know you were on holidays.
Yes. I finished work last night and now I'm off for a few days. So,
Yay!
yeah, lots of knitting time ahead at the beach, I'm hoping.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that you wanted to spend some time beside the water.
Yes, I like that. So I have got planned this weekend. Hopefully the weather, as long as it's not storming, I am just gonna pack up my knitting and off I go.
Well, good. Yeah, we're leaving on Monday morning to head up north to Balsam Lake for 4 nights of camping and fishing. So that's
Fun.
pretty exciting too. It's a nice vacation time.
You have to use the summer weather when it's here, right? Because
That's right.
before we know it, I even hate to say it, but
Don't say it.
don't say it. Yeah. Enjoy
No.
every summer day while
And
it's there.
usually July for us is the hottest month, and it hasn't been, our weather's been so all over the place. Like it's been raining, and yesterday and today it's cooler, and
I know.
a lot of rain.
We had a ton of rain last night. Thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping for some heat because I want to do some trial run solar dyeing this weekend.
Oh,
hmm I was
that
watching,
sounds like fun. I don't know anything about it.
so I pulled out some jars. So solar dyeing is in anticipation of our July weekend challenge starting July 23rd.
Yes.
I pulled out some
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's coming quick now. Solar dyeing, so you can use the heat from the sun to dye your yarn. So I pulled out 2 jars. You can use like a quart jar. You need something with a lid because you really want it to get the heat. But typically when I do solar dyeing, I use these great big pickle jars.
Wow, I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of these in my basement that I use for solar dyeing. But I think it depends. I've been watching a lot of videos. I watched a couple of from Chem Knits, and everybody has their own little way of doing things. And I think it also depends on what color result you want at the end. I
Right.
typically just do like tonals. Tonals is really what I have dyed in the past. And that's when I like the big jar. So you've got lots of water and your yarn can really just kind of swish around in there.
Okay.
If you want to do like a variegated and you want to do like 3 or 4 different colors, and I'm thinking this is like with this is the Wilton's, the cake icing dye.
Okay.
That's how it comes in like Michael's or the health or bulk food store. They sell them.
Right.
So Wilton's cake icing dyes or food coloring. If you're going to put some drops in, a smaller jar. And so like what is this, like a quart sealer? 100 grams. I have not tried it. I haven't tried it in such a small jar, but it will fit in, apparently. You got to really smush it. And you can put this one's sealed. So you can put your yarn, Now I'm talking about using wool or animal protein or protein fibers, not cotton. But this skein that I've got skeined up here, this is cotton, but we'll pretend it's a wool or a alpaca. You can put it in your jar and then you can drip down 2, 3, 4 drops of food coloring. And then you can smush some more yarn in, and you can put a couple more drops of food coloring. And then you can put the rest in and put a couple more drips of color. And then the dye will just kind of run down your yarn.
Oh,
And then you can fill it up with water. And you need a mordant for
Mordant.
food coloring. So your water and vinegar, you could mix that together in another jar or a cup. And then your water and vinegar solution you can pour in here.
Is there a magical mixture or?
I was watching some ChemKnits videos, and I will put the link to them in the description so people can go watch them. And she was talking about 5 tablespoons of vinegar, I think she used in one. Everybody
Okay.
kind of has their own number, but I would say definitely go more rather than less.
Okay.
And you put your lid on, so you fill it so it's as full with water, and then put it in the sun. So I would do it first thing in the morning, so you've got as much of the sunlight as possible. And at the end of the day, once the sun goes down, then she was just rinsing hers. Yeah.
So is it the heat from the sun then that sets the dye?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So if you pick a day to solar dye and it doesn't end up being a super sunny day, or it doesn't get really super hot, what you can do is you can also microwave it at the end.
So just take the lid off and
Yeah, you can put your glass
throw it
jar
in the microwave.
Yep. As long
Okay.
as you've got lots of water in there, you can microwave it for a couple of minutes just to give it a little extra heat to set it. But hopefully
Good.
we'll get some sunny days. So what else? And yeah, so when dyeing, I brought up a glove. I always wear gloves when I'm using, I just use we've got tons of gloves around these days too, right? So any kind of glove, because this cake icing dye, it is really, this is a brand, I've made sure I found a brand new bottle, because this stuff, the dye seems to get everywhere. As soon as you open the jar, and it'll just, it stains your fingers, but it washes off. But I always typically wear gloves just to keep my fingers from getting stained. And especially if you're going to be pushing your yarn into the jar. I mean, unless you want colored fingers, that's all right too.
So when you're using the powdered stuff, do you just sprinkle a little bit in off of like a measuring spoon, or do you mix it with some water first and drip it in, or how do you do it?
Like the Kool-Aid powder?
Yeah, or that. Isn't that
This is, I'm not gonna,
stuff a powder?
no, this
Is it liquid?
it's a paste.
Oh, okay.
It's really thick paste.
Oh, okay.
So this, I would, yeah, see, and that's where what she was using, the ChemKnits, she had Wilton's cake icing coloring, but it was in like the droppers, like the food coloring. So, and she was just doing a couple of drops. This here,
So
you have to melt this, like not melt it. You have to mix it in like boiling water or really hot water.
you can dilute it then in some water.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
If you were, yeah, I have not tried that, just to put a dab of this. I know from the past, if you get any of this paste that doesn't dissolve, it will leave it. That's how you get speckles in your yarn. Any place a little glob of the undissolved paste, you'll get little speckles on your yarn.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, food coloring though comes in the little dropper, so it's easier to use because you can just drop it on. This here, when I've done there's so many ways. It's like as soon as you start looking at videos and finding out how people do it, there's so many more ways of doing it. What I do with this one, if I want to do variegated yarns, I do it in the microwave, and so I'll have a casserole dish or a 9x13 or 8x8 pan, and just lay out my yarn, just kind of lay it around so it's flat like this. And then I'll have little jars or little styrofoam paper cups or something with some dye in it. And then just pour the dye on one section of the yarn and then take your other color and put it where you want it and the other one where you want, and then they'll just kind of blend together, and then you can microwave it. So there's lots of ways. So I think what I will do is some of the ways that I like to do it, little short videos, and I will post them to the Fiber Friends Facebook group. And maybe if I have them done in time for next week's or the following weeks, I'll link them to one of our next videos, because
Cool.
there's a lot. I mean, I think as long as you've got the right dye with your yarn
Mhm.
and you've got some heat, those are the main things. I always like to wash my yarn first too. So you can wash it just in some dish soap and just get any oil or whatever's off the yarn from it being spun and whatever they do with it when they're being processing in the mill. Yeah. And then you use some vinegar as a mordant. But so right now I'm just working at for my cotton, because we talked a lot about cotton dyeing last week.
Mhm.
I'm just going to take it right now and just reskein it. So take it out of its ball form. I just put this on my Swift and just re-round it back into a skein.
Right.
And then I just tied it in 3 places. And then it's going to be good to go.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. When I get back, maybe next weekend, we'll have to go have a little shopping trip.
Go to Michael's and see what we can find for.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, if anybody didn't see last week's video, so for cotton, if you want to try dyeing cotton with us, you can't use the same dyes that you would use for your wool. So for cotton, you want your Rit dye or tulip dyes. Somebody posted in the Fiber Friends group, so they had found a box, what was it, Tintex for fabric,
Mhm.
and somebody said that they had used it and that worked as well.
It's the same, I think, as Rit.
Just a different name.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to want Rit, and you're going to want some salt or soda ash, and that's the mordant, the fixative for that, for your cotton. And then if you're using your wools, your alpacas, then you can use food coloring, Kool-Aid, Wilton's cake icing dyes, your acid dyes. And then, of course, if you're mixing any kind of powder, you're going to want to wear a mask, so you're not going to breathe in any of those little particles that can irritate your lungs. And you can wear gloves just to keep your fingers from getting multicolored. It does wash off. It does wash off. It's not like you're going to have, purple fingers for a month. It washes off after a few washes. But yeah,
I
and
have some,
vinegar. I
and
use
I
vinegar.
got some blue gloves too, because they sent us some home when my daughter had her dental surgery on Monday, just in case we didn't want to touch the gauze taking it out of her mouth. I got a whole little baggie of gloves. I'm like, okay, I'll take those. Thanks. So I use them for yarn dyeing.
That's right. Hey, you know what? My daughter's getting her wisdom teeth out next week. Oh, well, I've got tons of gloves. But anyways, yeah, isn't that funny? You're like, yeah, I'll touch the
It
ooey
is.
gooey gauze because I've got a better purpose for these gloves. Yeah, so I'm really, it's only 2 weekends till our yarn dyeing. That's exciting. Look at
Yeah,
this.
I'm excited about it. I
I am
don't,
too.
I had thought maybe on our camping trip I could try the solar stuff,
Yeah.
because I only need to remember to take some vinegar and whatnot, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of warm weather. In fact, I think it's going to rain a couple of the days again. So,
Look at that. Just when you want the warm weather, right? It's yeah, wow. That's all right.
oh well.
Can. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm gonna start winding. Look, I'm feeling like I'm ahead of the game here now. I've got one. I think this is 50 grams. It doesn't feel like very much. And it only took like 30 seconds on my Swift, just finding the end and wrapping it around. And then I just let the ball sit on the floor, and the top of the Swift where the all the pieces intersect there, you just start spinning it, and it just winds it all from the ball back onto the Swift. Easy peasy.
Yep.
Didn't take long at all. But yeah, so I've got so many yarn dyeing experiment. I'm going to do a lot of dyeing that weekend because I really want to try the cotton because I've never tried it before. And from everybody's comments last weekend, down below last weekend's podcast, definitely sounds like you need to have your color fixidant if you're using the RIT dye. Otherwise, lots of color comes out. So the fixative for sure, and using salt with the dye. Two bonuses. I think I told you. Did I tell you the story about my friend Renee? I'm not sure. Maybe that was my Monday night. I talked with her. Our guild met up at the beach last weekend.
Oh yeah, you said you were going.
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, it was the perfect day ever. And just by chance, she was talking about the bamboo fiber that she spun for the Get Her Done challenge. She spun it and then she dyed it, and she just said that it was she didn't have the best of luck, but she didn't do her research before she dyed it. And when she found that the dye, it just took a lot of rinsing, the dye. Anyways, so then she went back and she did some research afterwards to find out what she did wrong. And hadn't used any salt or soda ash as a mordant to help the dye
Oh,
to the yarn, and she didn't use any fixative after to help the color stick. So she said she would definitely do those two things again when next time she tries it. So yeah, so I want to do cotton dyeing. I want to throw some yarn into my jars and just solar dye. I was going to try doing some speckles. I had that cotton, and what did I have? Oh, it was a wool and cotton blend.
right.
So I had lots of good comments on that about dyeing the one process first and then putting it into another dye pot, because that's two different dyes that you need. So I'm going to give that a whirl and see what happens there. Monday night, when I did my live Monday night, we were talking a lot about this, and people had great comments about if you're dyeing fleece, you get different color. The color comes out different if you dye the fleece first versus spinning it first and then dyeing the yarn.
Oh really?
I know, I didn't realize that. It's like,
Oh, that's
you know,
interesting.
once you start learning about something, there's all this extra, so much more to learn than that you knew, right? But yeah, it is going to be fun. So I'm going to prep my yarn and yeah, start pulling out. I like to always wash my yarn first. Just put it in get a plastic bin and with a little bit of dish soap and wash it.
I
And
know I know it's good to soak it first, just from people I know that are yarn dyers, of giving it a good soak before you do your dyeing. So,
yeah, I always like to wash it first with there's special soap that you can get for dyeing, but using some dish soap like Dawn, something, just to kind of cut that grease, you can let it sit in there for, you know, an hour or so, or over. Even lots of times my yarn, ends up sitting overnight because I maybe forget it. But yeah, wash it with a little bit of soap just to get any of that grease or anything off that may restrict the dye from absorbing into the fiber. And then soak it again in your mordant, like your vinegar or your alum, whatever you're going to use. And yeah, because you want it to, but having said that, see, that's why there's so many difference because the chem knits videos that I watched, she just took bare yarn and put it in those jars and she did not pre-soak it. So whether that's because it was, I don't know, but it seemed to work fine, whether because it was sitting outside, for like 9 hours. So it had the time to absorb the water, but it needs to be wet all the way through to open up the fiber
Mm-hmm.
for the dye to get there. So I think
Right.
you can do it either way. Who's going to argue with chem knits, right? Because she knows what she's doing. But typically, yeah, I have always soaked my yarn for at
Yeah.
least an hour. Well, say an hour. Sometimes it's maybe been 30 minutes. But you can tell when you've got your yarn in a container, like a plastic pail or whatever you've got to soak it in. You can tell it has a definite look to it when it's wet, like all the way wet. It you can just tell when it's all the way it's soaked right through. Yeah, and then you get the fun stuff. Then you can play with your color and so
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
yeah. I'm gonna dye some sock yarn. I know that. I've got all this Patons Croix, so I'm gonna dye that. I haven't decided what color, but yeah, I know. One thing first, step first, I've got my cotton. I'm gonna find my yarn so it's all back into skein form. Yeah, just get ready.
Get ready.
Get ready. I know. I can't wait. Last year's dyeing weekend was so fun seeing everybody's color combinations they came up with. So, yeah. Do you have any idea what color you're going to dye?
I have no idea. When we go shopping and I buy some stuff, I'll just pick something then. I don't know.
There is a lot of colors of the tulip dyes.
And that's for the cotton, right?
That's for the cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what
I
you're going to dye your wool yarn with?
No.
Well, if it will be food coloring or the Wiltons.
Pro
There's a
yeah,
lot more colors for the Wiltons, and you can mix up, and then you can blend them. You can make your own colors.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna assume that when we go shopping, they'll have both at Michael's, right? So I can
You can
pick a
pick both.
couple colors while we're there. I know when I do my cotton Aida cloth, I want to do a light blue. So
Ooh, okay. So that's the tulip dye because that's cotton.
yeah,
That'll be fun.
because I think
Oh,
I have a couple patterns that they're done on a light blue background. So try it.
how fun to dye your own fabric.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It is going to be fun because there's no real fails in any of this. I mean, really, as long as you have an open mind and
Yeah,
you get what you get color is color and it's colorful, then it's a win.
exactly.
Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, so I'm excited. I hope everybody else is getting excited. Once I get started talking about it, I'm like, I just like get more and more excited thinking sock yarn because I want to knit a pair of socks with what we dye. So that will be, yeah, I haven't decided. I mean, I've got acid dyes downstairs I could use, or I think maybe I'll just play around with this, pick some colors.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's what most people are. I mean, most people aren't going to be going out and buying acid dyes for our challenge weekend. We're going to be using food coloring and Wilton's. So I think I'll stick with
Yeah.
that too. And
Yeah,
then
for
that way,
sure.
you just need vinegar. You can use your kitchen microwave. You can even use your own, 9 by 13 pans or 8 by 8 pans, whatever you've got in the kitchen, as long as you're just using food grade things to dye with and vinegar to mordant, then you can reuse them again in your kitchen.
Right. And for the cotton, you mentioned something about salt. Is it just like your regular old table
So,
salt or?
yeah, I think so. So I
Yeah,
think that's what I'm going to use. You can use soda ash, but I don't have any. So I've got I've got a box of table salt here. So I think that's what I'm just going to use for my cotton dyeing.
sounds
The
like a plan to me.
tulip dye and salt for my cotton, and Wilton's cake icing dye and vinegar for the wool fiber.
Yep.
Yes.
Easy
Easy.
peasy.
I know. It sounds like there's so many options, but it's really not too hard. You don't just keep it simple.
So what have you been knitting on, Louise?
Well, I started a dishcloth. Don't think I've knit a dishcloth this year.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
This was your new start Monday?
This it was, yep, with the cream. Well, everybody was calling it creamsicle. Which
Because it looks like a
it
creamsicle.
does look like a creamsicle, but it is actually called Poppy, the Bernat handicrafter.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little darker than I thought it was, the orange.
It is.
Is
Well,
it a,
there's two shades of orange in it.
oh, okay.
So there is a lighter and a darker, but it's,
Because it looks a little on the rusty side on my screen.
oh, does it? No, it's orange.
It's orange, orange.
It's
Okay.
orange. But yeah, it's knitting up with a white stripe in the center. And I just decided I had all these ideas for different stitch patterns. And then I was like, you know what? I just want to do something simple. So I'm just doing seed stitch.
Well, that works. Not a whole lot of thinking about it.
No,
Just where you start and the beginning of your rows and
yep. Yeah, just making sure you're knitting your pearls and purling your knits and you're good. There's still room in there for me to mess it up, but hopefully not. So far,
I,
so good.
I should knit some dishcloths.
Yeah. Well, I'm
I
thinking,
I do have the yarn for it.
I think most people have a little stash of dishcloth cotton.
Yeah.
The colors are
Or
so
face cloths.
face cloths. Yep. Spa cloths.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, good. My orange is just starting to move into the white now.
Oh, good. So you'll get a little bit of variation in your.
Yeah. Do you like knitting seed stitch?
I don't mind it. I don't mind purling at all. And I like doing ribbing. So I guess I could say yes, I like doing seed stitch.
Yes, me too. Because I know
Yeah.
some people don't, but I do. I do like it, and I really
I
like
don't
how it looks.
I don't even understand why people don't like ribbing or purling for that matter. I pearl actually my pearl rows go faster than my knit rows.
Do they really?
Yeah, because I knit continental. So yeah,
Yeah.
I find it just goes way faster.
Wow. Yeah, I don't mind. I just find it really relaxing. So yeah, this is one project. What about you? What have you been working on?
So, well, I feel like I've accomplished quite a bit this week, although when I'm sitting here looking at it, it doesn't look like that much. Of course, I'm all my weeks in between camping, I have to, sew like gangbusters to get my orders out. So, but I have had some evenings. I did work, I'm knitting on my top
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I got my hem done.
how does it look?
It looks pretty good. So when I got to the end, I had a stitch left over. And so I just knit two together and, fudged it and kept going. And then I got around my round and realized I had dropped a stitch somewhere. So I just kind of picked it up and and kept going. So I think that my hem might be just cockeyed a little, like off one stitch over kind of deal, but it's not like you can see it. So I just got to put my cap on so they don't fall off.
Oh, that looks so pretty.
Yeah. So now I've
Yeah.
done,
And you're
I don't
and you're
know, 3 or
stitching.
4 rows.
It looks fine. Yeah, because like you were saying, if you where you kind of fixed it, yeah, you're never gonna tell if your stitches are
You can't
misaligned
tell that
here,
it's off
they're
by
lining.
like one
Yeah.
over. Yeah. So
Oh, that's gorgeous.
yeah, so once it'll look a lot nicer once it blocks. I mean, linen looks so lumpy and bumpy and
Well, it looks pretty already. I like that blue color.
yeah. So I think my gauge is, like is going to be a decent enough fabric. Hopefully I don't have to wear anything underneath the top, but
Mhm.
it's hard to know how see-through it's going to be.
Yeah.
Plus it'll bloom afterwards, right?
Yes, probably.
But
Well, it looks like you're off to a great start.
yeah, it's only going to take me about 5 years to finish it, I think. That's a lot to go around.
Slow
Oh
and
well,
steady.
once it starts decreasing down, it'll be better.
Yeah, how many inches do you have to go before you do that waist shaping?
Every 11 rows it decreases
Okay.
like 4 or 5 stitches, 4 stitches or something like that. So
2 on either side. Okay, well there that'll start adding up quick.
yeah. Yeah.
So is it going camping with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna I think yeah. I took it last time. I just never touched it, but I'll take it with me. We'll have some rainy days and I just pull out whatever I feel like knitting on.
Yeah, exactly. I worked on my shawl this week too.
Oh yes, I think I remember seeing you knitting on that.
It's what I've knit but like all week. This is what I've been. My ball is starting to have, the center is starting to get empty. Let's see. Can start to squish it a little bit because I kept looking at it and thinking, my goodness, this ball is like going forever and ever and ever. But now I can just start to see that I'm making some headway.
Oh, it's looking so nice, Louise. Wow, look at
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, it is. And it's starting to finally get some width up here,
Mm-hmm.
which means my rows are going to start getting longer and longer. But that's okay. Yeah, I
But
love
that's
it.
okay. It's gonna grow this way now instead of this way.
Yeah, I know because for so long it was just looking so long and skinny. But
I like
now,
long and skinny.
well, I do too. I like them. And so yeah, now I'm like, yeah, it really looks like it is growing. And where my stitch marker is, this is where I started last weekend when I went to the beach.
Oh,
That
good.
that was Sunday. I started. So this is what I've done just in evenings after work this week.
Yep, it looks nice.
Yeah.
Looks really nice.
So this yarn again was Leo and Roxy's Orange Crush.
It's beautiful.
I
I
love
love it.
it. Me too.
Jinx.
I know. I know, it's so beautiful and it just feels like the perfect summer color. Perfect summer yarn to knit on. So this has been my beach knitting and well, it's been my everywhere knitting, but now I can do the 4 row repeat without having to look at the pattern. So I can just take it anywhere with me and I did it during knit night this
Mm-hmm.
week and knock on wood, I have not I have done all of this and have not messed up the pattern once. So let's hope that let's hope that continues, or more than likely that means I'm ready to mess something up.
I better knock on wood for you.
I know, right? I know, fingers crossed, but yeah, it's really pretty. I can't wait to wear it. I took
Yeah.
my European road trip shawl to the beach on the weekend thinking I might need to wear it in case there was a cool breeze,
Yeah.
but it was so hot that day
Yeah.
that the breeze was welcomed. So we had to keep kind of moving between the shade and the sun, and well, we were in the shade the whole time because when we knit at the beach, we're not actually on the beach. There's a little grass area, a little park
Yeah.
right there, so you can sit there and you can see the water. So we sit there in the shade and we knit, and it was great fun. It was lots of fun. I don't know what.
Yeah. We had a couple of really hot days, and then we got a bunch of thunderstorms, and now it's cool.
Yep, brought in that cool air. So yeah, before we know it, we'll be back to heat wave probably, right?
Yeah. I like this mid-20 temperatures. It's nice.
So
Don't
nice.
have to have the air conditioning on.
Yeah, me too. That's my favorite. So I'm hoping this week, I think this week, yeah, is supposed to be like that. I don't think it's supposed to be too hot. So that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Relax and knit. That is my goal for the weekend. I may
Yeah.
try to get an extra dishcloth done out of this. I may try to get this whole ball knit
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, not just do the one because I really want to try this. I want to do this colorway in a herringbone as well.
Oh, okay.
And I also pictured it in the, well, what I call the tuck stitch, but a lot of people call it the bubble stitch.
Okay.
It's the same pattern that I had knit the hats and the cowls in back at the beginning of the year. And it's striped, but then you drop down that one stitch and pull up the other color. And so your stripes then turn into little bubbles. I don't think I have
Oh, okay.
my hat. No, not within close range here. But anyway, it's really fun. But it was just taking too much brain power to think what other color I was going to mix with this. I pulled out a nice bright blue to go with the
Oh,
white and the orange, which I think would be nice. But that took all my energy. How sad is that? What color I wanted to do, and then once I figured out the color, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm done with this. I'm just doing something. I'm doing a quick and simple knit. So that's why I thought, just forget about it. I'm just going to do some seed stitch, and then I'll go back and I will play around with the colors. So we'll see next week. We'll see how many dishcloths if I have the ball done and where I get to. We'll see. Sometimes, because I feel like I just think, oh, I don't have to work this week. I have all the time in the world. I can just do all the things. We'll see how much I actually get done.
yeah.
I may get
So
it
how,
or not. We'll see. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so how far was I on my socks last week? Was I still on the toes?
Yeah, I think you had just finished increasing for the toes.
Yeah.
This is your new one that you started while you were camping, right? Oh, wow, you've got a good chunk of the foot done. Look at those stripes.
Yeah, they're coming along. You can see there's like this pale pinky color in here.
Okay. So you're just back. So the color is that a pink color that's on your toes? Is that the same stripe you just finished?
This here is this.
So you're now just
So I
starting.
think it's white, and then I think there's a light blue, a darker blue, a light pink, a darker pink, and then I'm back to white.
Okay,
And I think that's how it's going to stripe.
that looks nice. And what was that? Was the mid-century stripes, the pattern?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like how. I like how. Mid-century stripes. I really like how it's knitting up.
Yeah, I like it too. And I like the colors.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think I have, Oh, maybe I do have, I have an orange and black pair of socks that are like Halloween, more
Yeah.
Halloween, like bright orange and black. I don't have anything like nice and soft looking like
No,
this.
see, and that looks summery, beachy. Like it doesn't look Halloween
Hmm.
at all. Are they shorties or full length?
Oh, I'll use it all up. I'll do my regular long socks.
Yeah. And heels, same color or
I haven't decided yet. If I probably go with the cream because I have lots of it around
mm.
in the Croy. So
And are those going camping with you?
yes, they will be going camping.
Very good. You're gonna have to hope for
These are my mindless knitting too. So
yeah. So you'll be hoping for some rainy days so you can get some knitting done.
yeah. Well, I know for sure that we're definitely going to at least have one rain day while we're gone looking at the forecast. So, and it might be, we leave Monday and I'm thinking that it's Tuesday that's going to be the rainy day. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have enough, dining shelters and whatnot. I can still sit outside and listen to the rain, and as long as it's not too windy.
Yeah, and that's kind of nice. Having a down day is not a bad thing.
No, and I'll probably download some movies on from Netflix onto the Chromebook, and Adrian and I can watch some movies or something in the trailer.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sometimes if we have a down night where we don't feel like having a campfire every single night, we'll just have a night in and sit in the trailer, and I'll knit and we'll watch a movie for an hour, couple hours
Sounds
before bed.
sounds nice.
Yeah.
Has
You and
she,
I have to go for a weekend of camping in my trailer and knitting, and
that would be fun.
yes.
Has Adrian
Yes,
done
it will.
anything with the yarn that you bought her, the really big thick blanket yarn?
Oh my goodness. She sat here and finger knit that whole thing in about an hour and a half.
The whole blanket or the
The
whole
whole
yarn
thing.
ball? The whole
All
thing.
by herself. It was so funny. I guess she YouTubed how to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to pause for a second, I can go get it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see it.
It's not perfect by any means,
Oh, well, perfect is a word.
but I was very proud of her. I watched a couple of times. She had dropped a couple of stitches, and so she had it spread out on the floor, and she was by hand pulling each stitch through across the floor. No needle, no nothing,
Yeah.
just pulling it through.
And it
And
took her an hour and a half.
there was a couple drop stitches because she missed them. And she's like, I'm not going back, I'm not pulling it out. She just tied them up, but this is what she did. Oh, better get the knit side out, not the purl side.
Oh, look at the colors. Wow. That turned out great. That's a good size.
So there's some wonky stuff going on here, and she learned. So this is at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then as she went, it got a little bit tighter. So she kind of learned. By the time she got to here, she was doing it a lot tighter because this is really loose and holy down here. But
Good
so
stuff.
she had her teeth done on Monday, and she spent the whole rest of the day and a half with this blanket all curled up on the couch.
Aw.
This thing is heavy,
It'd be
heavy and squishy, but yeah, that's what she did in an hour.
holy smoke. That's, you think that would be a weekend project, right?
Well, I would have thought it would take her longer than that for sure, but
That's amazing. Tell her she did really well.
I gotta put it somewhere now.
Did she like it at doing it that she would do another one?
I think maybe she would. I don't know. She didn't like doing it enough that she wanted to pull it out. I think she just wanted the blanket.
Wanted the blanket. So she's a product knitter, not a process.
I'm guessing so. Her mother is a product knitter too, mostly.
Yeah.
I just want the thing.
That's good motivation for getting it done.
Yeah. I mean, I like knitting, obviously, or I wouldn't do it, but I definitely am motivated by getting the product.
Yeah, see, and I'm not. I like the knitting.
Yeah.
I could knit queen size Afghans all year long. Just so I could knit, and the final product would be is just a bonus.
Yeah. With my stitching, I just like doing it. I mean, I love the finish, but I just really enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Do you have any of them hanging up, like you're stitching? Any of the No, so that's proof right there, right? You just like hearing it.
Yes, I have a whole bin full of finishes that are just sitting there. I think I showed them, didn't I, once before?
I think so.
Can't,
Some of them. I'm not sure if you showed them on the podcast or not.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but I know
My pile of finishes.
you've got a lot. You have a lot of, because you get a lot
No,
done.
yeah, no real big ones. They're all the ones I've done in the past are all small.
Yeah. Have you gotten your, where were you on the, did you get your June page done on the what's the name? I just lost the name of that one. What's it called?
My modern folk
Yes,
embroidery
modern
stitch
folk.
along.
Yes.
I have not yet, but I did get a bit of progress in this week.
Okay.
I can show you.
Sure. We always
I
like
did bring it over.
stitching updates.
Excuse my reach. So I didn't bring in the paper, but this is modern folk embroidery, the fruit of plenty. It's the 2021 stitch along. Oop. Better move my little happy camper out of the way.
I like that. Oh, lovely.
So this is the page that I'm working on.
Mhm.
So I've finished all of this down border down here. And I finished all of this frame here for the motif in this on this side.
Yeah.
And yeah, last night I just started working coming up here. I finished all of these little borders and some little square things down in here
Very
for
fun.
this. Yep,
That looks great.
it's getting there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a little late.
Yeah, but
My
not too
face
much.
is right in the screen.
Very fun.
Yeah, so this is a 32 count Lugana even weave in cream, and the colors I'm using, I don't think I ever shared that before, are DMC 3750 and 932. And these are the colors that Jacob had done the original sample in, and I liked it. So
yeah, no, it's gorgeous.
mhm.
I actually have 2 other crafts on my list of things to do while I am on vacation. One of them is some cross stitching, and the other is to pull out my,
Yay.
yeah, and the other is to pull out my English paper piecing.
I've been thinking about doing some of that.
Yes.
I did some, a couple of years ago, I had done some and I appliqued them on some bags.
Yes. Yep.
And
Well,
I had bought more little charm packs with Christmas fabric that I was going to do some up for Christmas. So I
yeah,
should make some so I can do some bags for
they're
Christmas.
so fun. I love doing it, and I haven't done it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
The year that I learned, Sheila, one of the knitters that comes to Knit Stitch when we were doing knit nights in person, she is the one I took a class from her. Hi, Gilly. I took a class from her at Knit Stitch on how to do it and totally fell in love with it and started making all these Hexis for, like a blanket for my bed. It was what I wanted.
Dream big right off the bat, eh?
Absolutely.
Gilly.
But anyways, but then I haven't done it. I haven't done it since. So I think I will spend some time, take a couple hours in one afternoon and at least pull it out and do a couple. Okay, well my colors didn't do much, did they? Like right here, it started to spread in.
Yeah, and then it's going back out again.
No, it's going back out. Well, this may be a I don't know.
It just might be.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure who Gilly's serenading in there, but
Just getting
got
some
some,
fun. Get
we
somebody.
got some beagle howls going on.
That's all right.
He is
Yeah,
crazy.
so that is all I've done. I feel like I haven't got a lot of knitting. I think my knitting progress has all been on one project, which is a little unusual for me. Usually I kind of split it out over 3 different projects. But yeah, it was all on one this week, which
Well,
makes me,
that's all right.
well, it is, and I guess as I'm starting to see some progress on it. But when I look back
Definitely.
and yeah, it's just different for me. Usually I have a little progress on a bunch of things, and now I just have a lot more progress on one thing, which you're right, is not a bad thing when you want to get something finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are your plans for this weekend then? Just you're getting ready for camping, but any,
Yeah. I'm working today and tomorrow because I have to finish up this bunch of orders to go out Monday morning, and then we're off Sunday. I'll be just doing some last stuff around here, and I gotta pack up the trailer and stuff again to go. It's not that much, but and grocery shop and get ready to leave
yeah,
Monday morning.
fun.
So I will be taking my socks and some stitching and my top and have some time this coming week to relax and get some progress done.
Yes.
My my pandemic sampler has always been my camping stitching, but I really want to get caught up with my modern folk embroidery stitch along because I'm now, what's the date? The 8th, 9th. I'm
I,
almost 2 weeks behind now. I don't want to get behind.
okay, so that's the one, that's the camping stitchy project then.
So it's going to go camping and yeah,
Get caught up.
yeah.
Good plan. Well, then this coming week, or at least the first part, then you and I will both be hopefully doing some knitting by the water.
Yes. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather's good enough to do that. If not, I'll just be knitting on my couch like any other day.
Gilly, what are you doing?
Is he giving you the let me out look?
No, he come for a walk by. I was hoping maybe he'd come over so he could say hi.
Oh,
Come here. Nope.
he's going to be camera shy.
Says, forget it, lady. I guess he went and laid down by the door and ignored me. So
How about- All right. Well, that is it for my knitting this week.
that's it for me too.
Wow. Good. And then next week will only be one weekend away from dyeing weekend.
One more week. Yeah. And next week, we probably won't record till Saturday. So
Right. So it'll be later Saturday next week.
yeah.
That's all right. I think that worked okay. We did that last week and I think it worked all right.
Yeah, I think it was okay.
Yes. We will give you a little time to come home and rest after your vacation. Won't make you podcast like 10 minutes after you get through the door.
No.
Okay. Well, good. Well, everybody get thinking about your yarn dyeing. If you're going to yarn dye with us the weekend of July 23rd, that's also the opening of the Olympics too, that weekend.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry. The opening of what?
Oh, the Olympics. I think they are
Oh,
starting July 23rd because somebody mentioned something about the Olympics starting July 23rd. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm thinking, yeah, it maybe is, but that's also the start of our dyeing weekend.
we'll do
So,
some Olympic dyeing.
Olympic dyeing, that's right.
Yeah. We'll get some signs and hold them up.
You know what? We did that a lot of years ago. There was something, and I think, and the Yarn Harlot, she organized something around Olympic knitting kind of thing, but then it ended up we weren't allowed to do it because you were infringing on the Olympic, uh, not copyright, but you know, it was, yeah. So then there was it was a big thing quite a number of years ago. But at one point we did do that. We did do some Olympic knitting and then, yeah, you know, so anyways, yeah, so we're not going to officially do that. Yeah. But yeah, watch the Olympics and dye yarn. That's what we'll do that weekend. If you're an Olympic watching person.
Yeah.
There. All right. A little bit of progress here. I'm going to have this done in no time.
Looks good.
It's going to
It
give
almost
me
matches my socks.
it almost. I know. Look at that. You could wash dishes in your socks and be all matchy matchy. Okay, well, I think, is there anything else you want to add before we finish up for this week?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. But it's been an overall,
No, I don't think so.
it's been a good knitting week for both of us. You've got your hem done on your top,
Yeah, I feel like
progress on your
I
socks.
feel accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
And I'm
like,
home for 2 weeks after this camping trip. So I'm hoping to get some new print bags in the shop because I'm getting to be sold out of a few of my knit night bags. So I gotta pull out some new prints.
oh, that's exciting. So will we get a sneak peek then in a week or two of what you're going to work on?
That's the plan.
Exciting. That's good. Yeah, I know. Every time we've been chatting, you've been busy sewing on knit night bags.
Sewing, sewing, sewing.
Yeah,
That's okay. I love it. So
that's good. Yeah, that's your happy place, right?
yep.
All right. Well, everybody, have a great knitting week. And we will catch up with you again next weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about some dyeing and check out the Facebook group because I'm going to start posting fairly regularly some tips and some pointers on dyeing so people can kind of get their dyeing projects kind of lined up for the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And join us, well, Louise for sure for our Friday Night Lives.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
And
you've been joining in here and there when you've got a little bit of time, which is always fun. Then we get to chat with everybody live.
yeah, it's fun.
So yep, but yes, I'm live every Friday night between 6 and 8 Eastern Standard Time. It's always a fun 2 hours of knitting and chatting.
About just about anything.
Pretty much anything. I don't think there's any topics off limits. So great. Well, everybody have a super great weekend and week, and we will chat with you again next Saturday.
All right. Sounds good. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.